Peak Design Outdoor Backpack 45-liter review. At the end of last year, Peak Design released its new outdoor backpack series. They were kind enough to send me a copy for review, so I took it out into the frigid cold of Alberta to test it out. Here's what I found. If I could describe this backpack in one phrase, it would be hybrid day hiking camera backpack. It's got some features of a camera bag, like the ability to accommodate traditional cube-like storage with the Peak Design packing cubes, and some features of a hiking bag, like the hip belt, reinforced stiff back and water-resistant construction. The bag has 4 different mount points on the back of the bag, so you can adjust it for your own size. The Outdoor 45-liter has lots of pockets, which I like. It's got a center flex pocket for storing bulky items like jackets, and 2 pockets as well on either side of the flex area. These side pockets could be great for storing items that need to be accessed quickly, like filters or protein bars. It's also got 2 deep side pockets that are generously sized. These can be used to store a travel tripod, water bottle, or hiking stick. I like that they run up nearly the entire length of the bag, so if you put a travel tripod in it, for example, it will be mostly covered and yet still easily accessible. The main space of the bag can be accessed in 2 ways. You can access it from the top using a top roll pouch. The pouch closes nicely with a magnetic seal, and then you roll it shut and tighten the cords. By the way, if you like this bag, consider buying it through B&H through the link in the comments to support the channel. The other way to access the bag is through the back, which would be the main way of getting to your gear if you're using a Peak Design camera cube. But the bag can also be used without any cubes at all. For example, on flatter, safer ground, I often use the Think Tank digital holster to hold my super telephoto lens, and then I can just slip this bag right into the Peak Design backpack. And even after I do that, there's still enough space left over to put another camera and other gear. Here's another example. I was recently sent the DJI RS4 Mini for a couple weeks for testing, and in this case I fit it in the backpack with my Panasonic G9 using the extra large camera cube, which is sold separately. It's a design strength of this backpack that you don't need to be constrained by a built-in divider system. The main internal space of the bag has 2 additional pockets. There's a slim pocket that can be used to store a laptop. There's another thin mesh pocket inside the bag, and it can be used for small pieces of equipment like a microphone for recording videos. It comes in multiple colors, and in this review, I tested the Maroon Eclipse version. I'm not sure if they did it on purpose, but the bag color matches my hat. Now, let's switch to my evil twin correspondent outside, who will talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, and who the bag is for.
Hey folks, it's Jason's evil twin, or aka Jason, in Nose Hill Park, Alberta, and I have the Peak Design 45-liter backpack here for testing. And I've carried this backpack all the way up and down these hills of Alberta, these hills of Nose Hill Park. And I've put all kinds of gear in it, like my 500mm lens, other cameras, tripods, water bottles, protein bars, food, packed it to the top. There's a video gimbal in it right now that I'm testing too. And I've carried it up and down these hills for the last 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, almost every single day to see if it can replace my other backpack. Now, my other backpack is the Osprey Farpoint 40, which is an awesome backpack. And that backpack has been with me for the past 8 years. It's so durable. I've packed it to the brim with the heaviest stuff. I've used it as my carry-on. And I believe me, I've put a lot of stuff in my carry-on when I was moving from Brazil to Canada. I've put all kinds of stuff in it, and it's still going strong. That's what I love about that backpack. But can this backpack replace it? The Farpoint 40 is a great backpack, but it's not the most ideal bag for camera gear because, well, various reasons. It's a little soft for one, and so it feels a little uncomfortable at times. Can this Peak Design backpack replace it? Well, I'll tell you about the strengths of this backpack first of all. It's got a very durable construction with a hard back, so that means I found it very comfortable to carry a lot of gear up and down these hills. It's also got those adjustable shoulder straps, so you can adjust it for your body type. I didn't actually adjust it from the default setting, but it's very comfortable. And I've found it more comfortable than the Farpoint 40 when bringing it up and down these hills in Alberta. I also like that this bag can carry a lot of gear. So I've put a lot of different gear in it. It holds more gear than my Farpoint 40. It can hold my 500mm lens. It can hold some cameras, tripods, water bottles, and food. And it's still not too packed full. And it's a good backpack to bring around when you're carrying a lot of gear. I like its durable construction too, and that it has a lot of different pockets as well. And one other thing I really like about this backpack, and it's not true of a lot of camera backpacks, that it actually has a modular system. So you can store gear in it using the Peak Design camera cubes, which is kind of the divider system for these bags. But you can also just take the bag and remove the cube altogether and put your camera gear in it. For example, when I carry my 500mm lens in a Think Tank digital holster, I just take out the divider system and I shove the camera right in the bag. So that sort of versatility and its ability to carry a lot of different gear is a big strength of this backpack. I also like the hip belt system because honestly, a hip belt for me is required on backpacks. I like to walk for many kilometers in jungles, in forests, up hills, up mountains, so I can get very good shots of things, and I like walking in general. And if the bag doesn't have a hip belt, then I think there's a chickadee behind me. That's kind of cool. And because it has a hip belt, it distributes the weight much more evenly. The hip belt is very well constructed. So overall, it's a very well constructed bag. It can carry a lot of different gear, and it has a versatility to carry certain types of things. Let's say you already want to put like the digital holster in the bag, you can do that too. So that's a really cool feature about this bag. And by the way, I just want to draw your attention to that funny cloud pattern behind me. It's like a posterized gradient. I like that too. But anyway, so yeah, it's a very cool bag, and it's a strong bag, and I think it's works well for my use case, which is carrying a lot of gear a long distance. Okay, so let's talk about the weaknesses of this bag. Now, no backpack is perfect. There are always some problems with one backpack or another. There's always something that I think could be improved. And I think the Peak Design 45-liter backpack overall is very well designed, but it does have a few things that I think could be possibly improved. Now, there's some small things here. I did notice that and I'll show you this up close, that the back straps are sort of attached on these very thin cords. Now, I think over time, they could have a chance of wearing out. And I think especially there's a metal clasp here, and it's attached to this thing, and it has fairly sharp edges. So I think this thing does have a bit of a chance of wearing out. Now, Peak Design does have a lifetime warranty on its product, so if it does wear out, you can probably get it replaced, but still, it's something to keep in mind. Now, it still feels very durable. I think it will last a long time, although it does have this extra safety strap here, so it's not suddenly going to fall off your back or anything, and you'll definitely notice it before anything happens. It's not a big thing, but it is something I noticed. The way the straps attach to the back is a little more durable looking on the Osprey 4.40, which is my other backpack. And the sort of main thing, actually, that I think is kind of something to watch out for. Now, I already spoke about in the features section the front flex pouch. You can see the front flex pouch here. You can put stuff in there, but let me close up this bag and I'll show you. Okay, so I'll show you this in a close-up, but this is the front flex pouch. It's a pocket, and it's an enclosed pocket. And so if you see, it's going to be on my bag in this angle. And if you're not careful, if you're walking with this backpack in the rain, then it's possible that water can eventually seep down into the pocket. Now, of course, if you are walking in rains, you need to use a rain cover. I mean, although this bag is made of weatherproof construction, no bag is really going to survive long-term torrential rains without a rain cover. And I mean, every bag has some little pockets and things and zippers that water can get into. So if you're going to walk in the rain, you have to remember especially to use the rain cover, because the rain cover goes all the way over here and it goes all the way to the back. And it's going to protect this bag against water getting into it. Now, if you tighten it up really tight and it's just a light rain, I wouldn't worry about it. But in a heavier rain, you absolutely should think about using the rain cover. And so it's a good idea to get the rain cover if you're going to be walking around in the rain. Now, for a lot of people, that's not even going to be an issue because, well, Not everyone walks around in long distance in the rain, but because this is an outdoor backpack, it is something to keep in mind. It has that little thing where rain could potentially get into that little pocket. So I've decided to switch to this close-up view for no apparent reason, maybe just to switch up the visual interest. The question is, who is this bag for? I think this bag is perfect for day hikes. It's perfect for day hikes and a lot of equipment. So if you want to go on a longer hike, maybe 5 to 15 kilometers, you want to carry around a lot of equipment, this bag could be very good for you. Now, it's a little small to carry around a lot of gear for camping. Let's say you wanted to go on a 4 or 5 day hike and camp, carry around a tent, a sleeping bag, all that other stuff you need for camping. It's a little too small for that. It's best for day hikes when you want to carry around a lot of gear. And I really do emphasize a lot of gear here. If all you're doing is carrying around like a 70-200 millimeter lens, a couple extra lenses and 1 or 2 camera bodies, maybe the 25-liter backpack in this series could be a better bag for you, or some other backpack. This bag excels when you're carrying around something like I do, like a 500 millimeter lens, extra cameras, a tripod, some food, extra gear like that. Then when you start to get into that longer lens territory, or you're carrying around 3 or 4 camera bodies territory, that's the kind of situation where this bag excels at. So a lot of gear and day hikes, longer hikes in more rugged terrain, this bag is perfect because it has that extra stuff like the hip belt, which distributes the weight around the bag. So I hope that helped you maybe decide whether this bag is good for you. And we'll finally answer the question, does this bag replace my Osprey Farpoint 40? I'll go back to the narrated part of this review so I can go home, eat food, and pretend I'm out here searching for wildlife.
Conclusion. Like I said, for the longest time, I used the Osprey Farpoint 40 to carry a variety of gear, even though it wasn't a camera backpack. I'm pretty picky about my backpacks, and the Farpoint 40 is one of the best bags I've ever used. It's actually still going strong, even after 8 years of very heavy use, often being crammed to the brim. That being said, I've decided to replace my Farpoint 40 with the Peak Design Outdoor 45 liter for a few reasons. First, Peak Design Outdoor 45 liter is more spacious. The Osprey is a great bag, but it became a little cramped when carrying multiple cameras and recording equipment. Second, the Peak Design can also be used with and without partitioned camera storage like the Peak Design camera cubes. That makes it very versatile because I often bring a variety of gear into the field. Third, the Outdoor 45 liter is also a little more durable. It's more weather resistant and can be used with an optional rain fly that makes it much better for harsher environments. And finally, for carrying camera gear, the Peak Design bag's rigid back construction and overall shape make it a comfortable bag to use in the field. Overall, I like the Outdoor 45 liter bag a lot. It's a well-designed bag, and I think it's a strong contender for those that spend a lot of time outdoors and who carry a lot of gear. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you again next time.